Thank you for joining us for this public touchpoint. We're going to give you an overview of the drainage study findings for Dana Drive. Please follow along as we go over area conditions, study recommendations, next steps, and additional resources for you and your neighborhood. The engineering firm is based in Raleigh, and they handled a majority of the work that went into the study, including researching the drainage area and providing recommendations to improve the stormwater system in Southeast Raleigh. First, we will go over information about the stormwater conditions in this area, as well as the feedback that we received from you and your neighbors. We studied this area of Dana Drive, which is located in the floodplain. The floodplain is the area next to a creek or river that floods, which you can see here in blue on this map. Here are a few examples of the flooding on Dana Drive in February 2020. We're also aware of the history of flooding that this area has experienced. This flooding is from Walnut Creek, which causes the street and homes to flood. We cannot prevent this flooding, but we can take steps to offset some of the impacts. The first step to do this is to highlight who is responsible for what when it comes to the stormwater system. In case you didn't know, the City of Raleigh is primarily responsible for the stormwater system on public roads. This can include pipes, storm drains, dams, lakes, and streams. Property owners are responsible for maintaining stormwater pipes and streams on their own property. However, please feel free to contact us as each situation varies. We are happy to help you identify the best ways to maintain the pipes and streams in your yard. Then, there are a few ways that we handle maintaining and upgrading the stormwater system in Raleigh. For pipes on public streets, we have a series of projects planned each year that are handled by stormwater staff. These projects help reduce flooding and erosion throughout the city. And for projects on private property, we offer support through our Drainage Assistance Program. The program addresses flooding and erosion that is being caused by stormwater coming from public streets. This program does not fix nuisance yard flooding, issues caused by landscaping, or stormwater issues caused by private property next to you. And finally, as we mentioned before, flooding happens in the floodplain, which is the area next to a river or creek that floods. To help you understand what the floodplain is, here's a brief overview of how it works, why it's important, and what you need to know to stay safe.
This is a floodplain. It's the area next to a river or creek that floods during a storm. It's made up of the floodway here and the floodway fringe here. All of these areas flood. This happens naturally. Here's how it works. When we have a lot of rain, creeks throughout the city, like Crabtree and Walnut, can rise quickly. Eventually, that water goes over the stream bank and fans out on the ground, like this. The floodplain gives the rain a place to go when streams can't handle any more water. Floodplains also help reduce pollution. The plants and soil clean and store rainwater, and it's a good habitat for wildlife, too. Most importantly, floodplains lessen the impact of severe weather. Remember, stay alert and stay safe when it floods. That means don't drive through flooded roads. Turn around and go another way. Look for flashing signs when a road is flooded. And if you see a clogged storm drain, be sure to report it. It's also a really good idea to have flood insurance if you live near a floodplain. This will help protect you and your property. To learn more, go to raleighNC.gov/stormwater. To report a clogged storm drain, call us at 919-996-6446.
Now that you've learned more about the floodplain, here's a closer look at what the floodplain looks like in your neighborhood. Once again, the area in blue represents the floodplain. Findings from the study will also help reduce some of these impacts that you experience. So now, we'll talk about what those improvements are and what has been recommended in the study. The study includes 3 main areas. The first is the hydraulic evaluation, which focuses on building a model to represent current conditions of the area. Then, we use this model to simulate what conditions would look like with different improvements, like road and stormwater system upgrades. And finally, the study provides recommendations for projects in the area that help reduce impacts from hazardous flooding. Based on the study, we recommend replacing the stormwater pipes in the area to help reduce flooding impacts. The 3 pipes in the area will be replaced with larger ones that almost double in size and carry more stormwater through the system at one time. We also are looking to raise Dana Drive by 4 feet and build a bridge over the stream to make the area safer to access. But again, we cannot stress enough that this does not alleviate all flooding. Apartment buildings and roads in the floodplain will continue to see creek flooding during large storms. Our work here will really make a difference for smaller storms that move through Raleigh. Now that you know more about the study recommendation, I'll go into detail about next steps for the study and future projects. As we finish the study phase, we will move to the next phases of the project, which include design and construction. We hope to start the engineering design of the stormwater pipes this summer, and the construction is expected to start in the next 2 years based on our current project schedule. There are also a few additional resources that may be helpful to you. Here's a little bit more detail about the program that we offer to return properties to green space. Through the program, we work closely with property owners to purchase properties in the floodplain. If property owners agree, we would purchase properties at fair market value so that there are no longer structures in the floodplain at risk of damage and flooding. This program is completely voluntary. When we do purchase a property, we also help property owners and renters find a new home in the area, and we cover relocation costs. Once the area is returned to green space, we continue to monitor the location when it floods to make sure that the floodplain is functioning properly. It is a good idea to be very familiar with the floodplain and the best ways to stay safe in the area. We have a lot of good resources on our website that help you see if your property is in the floodplain, learn about the environmental benefits of the floodplain, and changes we're making in regulation to help protect you and the environment. And to provide more details on the Drainage Assistance Program that I mentioned earlier, this program pays for projects that address flooding in your home, severe erosion to your property, and blocked pipes. To qualify for the program, issues must be caused by stormwater runoff coming from public streets to your property. You also must pay the stormwater utility fee and be willing to dedicate a permanent easement for the project. This program does not help fix nuisance yard flooding, issues caused by landscaping, or stormwater issues caused by private property next to you. And finally, we would like your input on the study findings and what you would like to see in your neighborhood. Please follow this link to share your thoughts on upgrading the stormwater system on Dana Drive. Thank you for your time. You can also contact staff if you have more questions or want to learn more about this study. We can be reached at 919-996-3940 or by email at raleigh.stormwater@raleighnc.gov. You can also get updates online by visiting raleighnc.gov/projects and searching South Raleigh Studies.